मंगलाचरण। अखिल रसामृत मूर्ति प्रसमर रुचिरुद्धतारका पाली कलित श्यामा ललितो राधा प्रेयान विधुर्जयति. So we have discussed till verse number 34 of the first wave of the first section of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay. So essentially it is the 34th verse of the first chapter, where Sri Rupa Goswami has been describing the various characteristics of Krishna Bhakti, devotion to Krishna. So he first listed the six characteristics or attributes of devotion to Krishna, of Krishna Bhakti, which were Kleshagni, Shubhada, Moksha Laghuta Krit, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, and Shri Krishna Karshani. These are the six characteristics of Bhakti. So he has explained the characteristic of Bhakti being Kleshagni, the destroyer of suffering. Okay. So even a slight engagement in Krishna Bhakti removes all kinds of suffering one is having. So that he gave various Shastric references to support his points there. Then he spoke about the second characteristic, that is Shubhada. Devotion to Krishna, Krishna Bhakti is the bestower of all auspicious things, all auspicious qualities. The most preeminent quality that Krishna Bhakti gives is that uh, it makes it makes all living beings dear to oneself. So you develop affection for each and every living being, and all living beings also develop affection for you, being the devotee of Krishna. So, and all other various good qualities are also present in a devotee of Krishna. All of that he supports with various Shastric references also. Then he described the third characteristic of Krishna Bhakti, which is Moksha Laghuta Krit. Krishna Bhakti minimizes or lessens or reduces the glory of liberation from birth and death. So here he says that the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, they seem like a blade of grass, very insignificant for a devotee of Krishna. When Krishna Bhakti becomes fixed in one's heart, becomes established, Naishtiki Bhakti, okay? This is a characteristic of fixed devotional service to Krishna. That it does not, that the devotee who is fixed in devotion to Krishna, pure bhakti to Krishna, does not have any attraction for even liberation. He is not concerned for attaining freedom from the suffering of birth and death. He doesn't mind taking more and more births and dying more and more times as long as he can remember Krishna's lotus feet always. So, because that remembrance of Krishna's lotus feet is what is of only importance to him. That is the only important thing in his life. And he supported it from the statement of Sri Narada Pancharatra. Okay. Next, let us continue. Next, Rupa Goswami describes the fourth characteristic of Krishna Bhakti, which is Sudurlabha, extremely rarely attained. Okay. It is attained very rarely. Let us see the shloka and the commentaries. Sadhanogheranasangairalabhya suchiradapi harina chashvadeyeti dvidha syat sudurlabha. So the fourth characteristic of Krishna Bhakti, that it is very rarely attained, is described here. साधनौघैरनासङ्गैर्लभ्य सुचिरादपि. Devotion to Krishna is unattainable by many different practices. You can do many yajnas, the Vedic sacrifices you can do. You can give a lot of donations to various needy people. You can, help feed the people. You can build shelter for the homeless and everything. Help others with medicines and everything. You can also do a lot of austerities, go to the secluded places like tops of mountains and engage in strict austerities, meditation according to the yoga process. So, all such various types of practices one can engage in, but by those practices, Krishna Bhakti is unattainable. Even if you practice those things, okay, even if you do those various practices for a long time, for an extremely long time, you engage in austerities and meditation, Ashtanga yoga, and all these things, you will not attain devotion for Krishna. Okay. Also, so anasangai. Rupa Goswami has used the word anasangai. When you do all these various sadhanas without any attachment for them, then you will not attain Krishna Bhakti. Harina cha ashu adeya. Okay. Also, devotion for Krishna is not given by Sri Krishna very quickly. Krishna does not give devotion for himself very quickly to others. So, in these two ways, Krishna Bhakti is very rarely attained. Okay. Commentary by Jiva Goswami, Durgama Singamani Tika. Harina cha ashu adeya iti atra आसंगे अपि इति गम्यते अन्यथा द्वैविध्यानुपपत्ते विधा सुदुर्लभा इति प्रकारद्वयेनापि सुदुर्लभत्वं तस्याः इत्यर्थः. So Jiva Goswami comments that in the verse, the Rupa Goswami has used the word anasangai. When one engages in all these various practices without any attachment, then devotion to Krishna is rarely attained. Even if for a long time you do those various practices without any attachment, then you will not get devotion for Krishna. Jiva Goswami comments that you should also understand asange. Doing these various practices with attachment also. If you do them without attachment, you will not get devotion to Krishna. Of course, you will not. But even if you do those other practices with attachment, then also you will not gain devotion for Krishna. Otherwise, you cannot explain how bhakti is rarely attained in two ways. Vidha syat sudurlabha. Rupa Goswami has said, in these two ways, devotion to Krishna is rarely attained. So, even if you do tapasya and meditation and donations and Vedic sacrifices and all other things for a very long time, even if you do those practices without attachment, you will not gain Shri Krishna Bhakti. And even if you do those practices with attachment for those practices, you will not attain Krishna Bhakti. Okay. So, dvidha sudurlabha, in these two ways, devotion for Krishna is sudurlabha, is rarely attained. Okay? Prakaradvayena api sudurlabhatvam. Even if you do those sadhanas, those practices with attachment, and even if you do those practices without attachment, you will very rarely attain devotion for Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti comments, अनासंगैः श्रद्धादि भक्ति भूमिकांतर्गत आसक्ति रहितैः साधन समूहैः सर्वथा एव अलभ्या आसक्त्युत्तरमेव रत्युत्पत्ते श्रवणात् हरिणा च आसक्ति सहितैरपि साधन समूहैराशु शीघ्रम् अदेया विलंबेन तु दीयते इत्यर्थः. So, Vishwanatha Chakravarti has a different understanding here than Jiva Goswami's commentary. So, sadhana, the word sadhana here, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, it means the practices of Krishna Bhakti, the angas of Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaran. Okay? So when you engage in those spiritual practices for devotion to Krishna, but you have no attachment for Krishna, no asakti for Krishna. Okay? When you engage in hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, and thinking about Krishna, without attachment for Krishna, then it is extremely rare for you to attain love for Krishna, okay? To attain emotional feelings for Krishna. That's what he says. Because as we have already seen earlier, both Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti have agreed. Both of them say that these 6 characteristics of bhakti manifest at different stages of one's practice of bhakti, engagement in bhakti. So, the first 2 characteristics that are mentioned, that bhakti is the destroyer of all suffering, and bhakti is the bestower of good qualities. These 2 characteristics of bhakti manifest in the stage of sadhana bhakti, when we are engaging in the activities of bhakti without any emotional attachment for Krishna. It is the beginning stage of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, bhakti in practice. Okay. So while we are engaging in the stage of sadhana bhakti, bhakti in practice, then we are freed from all suffering and we are bestowed with all good qualities. Then when one gets bhava bhakti, the higher stage, the almost perfect stage of bhakti is called bhava bhakti, where one experiences loving feelings for Krishna in a particular relationship with Krishna. Okay? So, in that state of bhava bhakti, the 3rd and the 4th characteristics of Krishna bhakti manifest, which are moksha labhuta krit. One will feel in the stage of bhava bhakti, one will feel that mundane religiosity, this path of Vedika karma kanda, artha, economic welfare, kama, sense pleasure, and moksha, liberation from birth and death. All of these are inconsequential and totally insignificant. Yeah. One is only concerned with loving Krishna and serving Krishna. Then, when one's bhakti develops to its perfected stage of prema, of love for Krishna, then that is the 3rd quality, moksha labhutakrit. And the 4th quality, 4th characteristic of bhakti, sudurlabha, also manifests in the stage of bhava bhakti, So after sadhana bhakti, there is bhava bhakti. In that bhava bhakti, the fourth characteristic of Krishna bhakti also manifests. That is sudurlabha. Bhakti is very rarely attained. One attains bhava bhakti, which is very rare. To attain the stage of experiencing loving feelings for Krishna in a particular relationship with him is extremely rare to be seen anywhere in this world. Okay. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says here in this commentary, if one does not have attachment for Krishna, then even if one practices the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, and all these angas of bhakti with faith and all these things, one will not attain the stage of bhava bhakti. One will not attain the stage of loving emotions for Krishna, because that stage of loving emotions for Krishna is only attained after one has reached the stage of feeling attachment for Krishna. So I need to give a brief description of the various levels of bhakti as described by Rupa Goswami, which Vishwanath Chakravarti is referring to here. So first, by the mercy of association of great devotees, one is blessed. Okay, one is blessed with Shraddha for Krishna, Shraddha in Krishna, faith in Krishna. One has faith in Krishna, one has faith in Shastras that describe Krishna Bhakti. One has faith in the path of Krishna Bhakti, that it is the highest path. It is the most perfect path. This is the goal I aspire for. Okay? That is called the stage of Shraddha. Then one engages, then one associates, takes shelter of the Guru. Then one engages in the acts of Krishna Bhakti as guided by the Guru. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakhim, Atmanivedanam. So, according to one's capacity, one engages in these angas of Krishna Bhakti. And slowly, uh, through this bhajana kriya, so there is Shraddha, then there is Sadhu Sangha, then there is bhajana kriya, engagement in the acts of bhakti, according to one's capacity. And by that, one's heart becomes purified. Then is anartha nivritti. The snare of these anarthas, which are kama, krodha, lobha, moha, the lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion. One's mind is ensnared by these bad qualities. So the grip of these qualities on one's mind reduces gradually. These anarthas gradually reduce their grip on oneself. And when these anarthas are almost completely destroyed from one's mind, then one develops nishtha, staunch faith in Krishna. No amount of opposite arguments, no amount of arguments from others can convince such a person to give up Krishna Bhakti. Okay? He is completely convinced because he has experienced some spiritual awakening in himself. And based on that experience, he or she is convinced that this is the real thing. And nothing else can move such a person from that conviction of dedication to Krishna. Okay? And nothing can stop that person from engaging in Krishna Bhakti. No situation in life can stop him, can interrupt him in his practice of bhakti, whether he is, whether he, a son is born to him, a very happy occasion in his life, he does not forget to worship Krishna, or whether some family member has died, unfortunately, that devotee will still not stop his worship for Krishna. Okay. Nothing can move him from his worship of Krishna and service to Krishna. That is called Nishtha. And after the stage of Nishtha comes the stage of Ruchi. There is liking, a taste, where one develops a natural liking for hearing about Krishna, reciting his names, reciting his stotras and glorifications, worshipping him in the deity form, cooking for him and doing his puja. All anything related to Krishna one becomes attracted to. That is called ruchi. Okay? Where one no longer engages in Krishna bhakti because he knows that this is the right thing to do. One engages in Krishna bhakti because he likes it. Because he or she likes it, likes to do it, he does that. After ruchi comes the stage of asakti. This is a developed stage of ruchi, where one develops attachment for Krishna. One cannot live without Krishna. Okay? That immense attachment one develops. Just like we may be attached to our sons or daughters, or just like someone may be attached to their wife or husband. In that same way, or in a more powerful way, I should say, a devotee develops attachment for Krishna. That is called asakti. After this stage of attachment for Krishna, one comes to the stage of bhava bhakti. One develops loving feelings for Krishna in a particular relationship. And that is a very high stage of Krishna bhakti. It is almost the perfected stage of bhakti. And then this bhava matures into prema bhakti. It becomes love for Krishna. So, bhava bhakti, loving feelings for Krishna, can arise in one's heart only after one has attachment for Krishna, attachment for devotion to Krishna. If one engages in the activities without any attachment, because before attaining attachment for Krishna, one will not have attachment for Krishna. So, when one does the activities of bhakti at a stage lower than attachment for Krishna, then by that one will not get bhava bhakti. Okay? One will proceed to the next higher stage of bhakti. So if you are on nishtha, then you will proceed to ruchi. If you are on ruchi, you will proceed to asakti. Only when you are in asakti, when you engage in Krishna bhakti, then at, after that you will attain bhava bhakti. That is the idea. Okay? So that's what Vishwanath Chakravarti has said. हरिणा च आसक्ति सहितरपि साधन समूहैराशु शीघ्रमदया विलंबेन तु दीयते इत्यर्थ. Also, Bhagavan Sri Hari, Krishna, even when a devotee has reached the stage of attachment for him, even then Krishna does not grant bhava bhakti very quickly to that devotee. It means that he does grant bhava bhakti after some time, after some delay. He does not grant it immediately when you reach asakti. So even when a person, a devotee, has reached the stage of asakti, attachment for Krishna, and then he practices the acts of bhakti, then also he has to wait for some time. Okay? He has to wait for some time, and then Krishna will decide when to give this devotee bhava, loving feelings for him. That is the idea. Okay. So, vidha ityartha. In these two ways, Krishna bhakti is sudurlabha. When you practice the acts of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and so on, without attachment, then of course, this bhava bhakti is difficult to be attained. And then even if you practice bhakti with attachment, Krishna will give you bhava bhakti after some time, not immediately. So it is difficult to be attained. Sudurlabha, rarely attained. Okay? So in these two ways, Krishna bhakti, in the sense bhava bhakti, is sudurlabha, very rarely attained. So, does anyone have questions or doubts here?
Prabhu, I just wanted to thank you for these wonderful classes. I've been listening to all the recordings, and I am very grateful for these classes because you read directly from the original text, and it's very good also for learning Devanagari, and it's very, very, how to say, sober. It's very clear, very, very clear. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for a kind appreciation. I um, really appreciate. Thank you.
So, Parasji, when you say you practice this without attachment, basically what we are talking about is don't expect to see the fruits of this attachment. If you, for example, if you do a havan and for acquiring property or wealth or something, then that is not bhakti. But if you just do a havan for the welfare of the world, that could be a practice of bhakti.
No, no. That would not be bhakti. Okay, that will be karma kanda.
Karma, okay.
But bhakti is uncovered by jnana karma. So jnana karma dhyanavritam, Rupa Goswami has defined. Uttama bhakti, pure bhakti has defined. It should be not covered by the path of jnana and the path of karma. So covered by karma means thinking that doing these Vedic sacrifices, they are a part of bhakti. They will help me in my bhakti. Thinking like that is the covering of karma over our bhakti.
Okay. So what is this doing, practicing bhakti without attachment?
No, no. The ultimate aim of all these practices is to develop attachment for Krishna, develop love for Krishna. Okay,
Attachment to Krishna. Okay, okay.
That's what we want. We don't want to remain detached from Krishna, then we'll suffer in this world forever. So we want to develop attachment for Krishna, for his lotus feet, for his service. And the purpose of engaging in hearing about him and speaking about him here in such classes is that gradually by Krishna's blessing we will develop love for Krishna one fine day.
Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
This Sudurlabaha reminds of the Bhagavad Gita Vachana, Bahunam Janmanamante. It is like
Yes,
reflecting like it takes several janma to attain that stage. So to
yes,
attain Krishna Bhakti sort of shows that kind of a similarity, though in a different way.
yeah. It shows that rarity of attaining Krishna Bhakti. So very nice that you reminded of that shloka of the Gita. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. That is there. But what I was thinking is this सहस्रेषु यो कश्चिद् यतति सिद्ध मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु
Sakashneshu.
कश्चिद् यतति सिद्धये
Yes.
यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन् मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः. So among thousands of human beings, someone may endeavor to attain perfection. And among thousands of those humans who endeavor for perfection, one may know Krishna as he is in truth. So that is the rarity of attaining Krishna. Yeah. Thank you for that. Anyone else has a question or comment or doubt?
Prabhu, I had this doubt that I may be unqualified to ask this, but
No one is unqualified to ask a question. Don't think like that.
Okay. I was wondering about Bavalasarati because there it's also yeah the what seems to be a Sanchari Bhav is becomes Sthai Bhav, so it's so devotion to Radharani becomes even more powerful than devotion to Krishna. So, and this is also we can see this in our Gaudiya Acharyas' lives that they often followed, this Bhavalasrati, but they don't really talk about it. And so when we see these definitions of Krishna Bhakti, and it's always about Krishna Prema, so when, of course, the final relationship will show itself in Bhava Bhakti stage, as you have elucidated today, but just supposing that someone has this Bhavalasrati, then can one, when studying Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, can one apply all these, descriptions for Krishna
one has
Bhakti?
to. One has to apply these instructions of Krishna Bhakti, even if one has attained the stage of Bhavolasarati. Okay. No one can escape all these instructions. So
Yes, I mean, can one apply these specifications regarding Krishna on Radharani as well? Because
yeah.
Radharani is Shakti Tattva, so I'm not sure, like sometimes.
So the thing is that Bhavolasarati is a particular type of Krishna Prema.
Oh,
It is a type of Krishna Prema, right? It is not Radha Prema, independent of Krishna Prema.
yes.
So developing love for a great devotee of Krishna. So actually, let me bring your question in the context of other devotees here. So Mataji has asked a question that about Bhavolasarati and whether, so what is that? Of course, the ultimate goal is to develop prema for Krishna, love for Krishna. So Sri Rupa Goswami, in another text which he has written, Ujjvala Neelamani, and in some other text also, he has described a particular relationship a devotee develops with Krishna in the Shringara Rati. So there are 5 types of ratis, Sthai Bhavas for Krishna. So you can develop love for Krishna in the mode of servant for Krishna, Dasya Rati, in the mode of friend for Krishna, Sakhya Rati, in the mode of parent of Krishna, that is Vatsalya Rati, or in the mode of a female lover of Krishna, that is Shringara Rati or Madhurya Rati. So now in this Shringara Rati, loving Shri Krishna as a female lover, there are some varieties there also, some subtypes. So one particular subtype of this loving Krishna as a female lover is that one has more love for a particular gopi, a female lover of Krishna, than Krishna. Okay. One loves that gopi more than one actually loves Krishna himself. And there is only one devotee of Krishna who can extract so much love from a person that that love for that devotee exceeds even the love for Krishna. And the devotee capable of extracting such love from a person is only Sri Radha and no one else. So Sri Radha becomes the most aspired for person in the life of such a devotee. Such a devotee aspires to serve Sri Radha to assist her in her service to Krishna. So for such devotees who are the female assistants of Radha in the Leela of Radha Krishna and Vrindavan, Radha has many sakhis. So these sakhis are of many types. Among those sakhis of Radha, some sakhis are such that they never want to have any physical connection with Krishna. They want to help Radha have physical closeness with Krishna. And they are only interested in uniting Radha with Krishna. Okay. So this is called Bhavollas Rati, where the love for a devotee of Krishna exceeds the devotee's love for Krishna himself. And then Krishna is very happy Krishna is more pleased by such love. When a devotee loves Sri Radha more than he loves Krishna, Krishna is extremely happy than directly loving him. So, better than directly loving Krishna is to love the devotee of Krishna more than you love Krishna. It's like that. So, this is called Bhavollasa Rati, and here Radha becomes the primary object of the service of the devotee. But this is not independent from Krishna Prema. This is a subtype of Krishna Prema only. And Krishna is very much happy by such Prema, which you express to him through Radha. Why do you love Radha? You don't love Radha independently. Okay? According to Tattva, you love Radha because she is the Radhini Shakti of Krishna. She is not independent from Krishna, according to Tattva. But in Leela, in Bhava, when you develop Bhava, you love Radha more than Krishna, so much so that it seems that your love for Krishna is because you love Radha. It seems that your love for Krishna is because Radha likes Krishna, I love Krishna. If Radha is not meeting Krishna, I don't have anything to do with Krishna. That happens in the stage of this bhava. Okay. But in underlying that bhava is the tattva, that Krishna is the Shaktiman, Radha is his Swarupa Shakti, Lahadini Shakti. It's a very, very sweet type of love which a devotee develops and very rarely attained also. So yeah, your question was that in whether when a devotee attains such a rati for Krishna Prem, can these instructions also apply to that devotee because he is having primary love for Radha and secondary love for Krishna. So these instructions are for love of Krishna, bhakti of Krishna, but he is engaging in bhakti of Radha. So how can these instructions apply to Radha? No, these are instructions of Krishna bhakti and Radha bhakti is a part of Krishna bhakti. So all of them will apply without fail there also. Okay, I hope some clarity was given.
Yes, thank you so much. Very, very clear.
Thank you. Okay, so now we can move to the next verse. Shri Rupa Goswami says, Tatra Adya Yatha Tantre. There are Krishna Bhakti is very rarely attained in two ways. If you practice Krishna Bhakti without attachment, it is rarely attained. And even if you practice with attachment, it is rarely attained. According to Jiva Goswami, the word sadhana, I'm referring to this because Jiva Goswami will say that in the next commentary also. The word sadhana here refers to those acts which are not the acts of bhakti. They are not Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam and all these things. They are Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Yoga and all these things. So, when you practice all these other paths, Karma, Jnana and Yoga, you cannot attain devotion for Krishna. It is very rarely attained by that. That's what Rupa Goswami says here in this shloka. Jnanata sulabha muktir bhuktir yashyadi punyatah seyam sadhana sahasrair hari bhakti sudurlabha. Okay. Liberation is easily attained through jnana, through knowledge, and material enjoyment, happiness in this world is easily attained through the punya, through the piety gained through Vedic sacrifices and other such activities. But this Hari Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti, is extremely difficult to be attained by thousands of such sadhanas, such practices. Okay. So, commentary, Jiva Goswami says, Jnanatah iti tantramatam tavad vicharyate. Yatha tantre, Rupa Goswami said, as it is said in a tantra, it is a Satvata Tantra text. which Rupa Goswami has referred here. And this particular shloka is a quotation from that Shastra. It is not Rupa Goswami's composition. It is a reference from some Shastric text, Tantra. Tantra matam tavad vicharyate. The opinion stated in the Tantra is now being thought upon, now being analyzed here. Atra jnana yajnadi punye sasange eva vachye. One should understand here the words jnana, yajna, adi, punya, practice of the path of knowledge, practice of the Vedic sacrifices and other such things. These practices should be understood as done with attachment for these practices. Sa sange, sa asanga. You are doing these practices with attachment. Okay. But later on in this commentary, Jiva Goswami will again explain what does he mean by this word asanga, attachment. So there, asanga will mean naipunyam. Sasang, if you can see the mouse pointer here, sasangatvam naipunyena vihitatvam. Doing these karma, jnana, yoga and such practices with expertise. Doing such practices with expertise is what is meant by having attachment for these practices. Asanga, being attached to these practices, means doing these practices with expertise. And what do we mean by expertise in these practices? Expertise in these practices means combining these practices with bhakti yoga. Doing your practice of karma kanda, doing your practice of jnana marga, your yogic meditation, with the addition of devotion to Bhagavan Shri Vishnu. That's what it means by doing these practices with expertise, with attachment. Yeah. Yes, Bhakti Praveena ji, you have a question?
Yes. So in Hari Bhakti Vilas, we can see recommendations for pranayam. So is that Sanghasiddha Bhakti, or can it also be Svarupsiddha Bhakti in some cases?
Okay. You see references, recommendations for what in Hari Bhakti Vilas?
For pranayam, like
Pranayam. Yeah.
like Anulom Vilom is very similar to Anulom Vilom. So
So of course it is not Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. It is preparation for engaging in worship of Krishna. You have to do pranayama, bhuta shuddhi and all these things. So it is a part of bhakti because you are preparing for bhakti, but it is not Swarupa Siddha. It is one of the other types, which I am unable to recollect now. Not Aropa Siddha definitely, but something else.
Sanghasiddha Bhakti.
Sangha Siddha Bhakti, yes. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Why did you have that question?
Because I know one devotee, he's very eccentric, so he's very much into Smarana, and he practices all kinds of other, let's say things from adapted from Ashtanga Yoga, which help him get these visions, like get the Smaranam. So he's totally on the Dhyan mark. So I'm just curious about, the validation of his practice, the validity of his practice. Just curious.
Okay. Anyways, okay. Thanks for a question. Okay, so our Jiva Goswami is saying in this commentary that the Jnana Marga and the Karma Marga, which are mentioned in these shlokas, these practices of these paths, they should be understood to be done with asanga, with expertise, with a connection with bhakti. Only then can mukti come easily. Only then can material enjoyment come easily. Jnanata sulabha mukti, you said liberation is easily attained through jnana marga. Material enjoyment is easily attained through the punya gained through Vedic sacrifices. Okay. Only if these paths are having a mixture of Vishnu Bhakti in them can they bestow liberation and material enjoyment, their results, their fruits. These paths cannot bestow their fruits if they are done without any connection with devotion for Sri Vishnu. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam says in many different places. That's what Jiva Goswami is also explaining here. तयोः तादृशत्वं विना मुक्तिभुक्त्योः सिद्धिरपि न स्यात्. Tadrishatvam vina, if they are not connected with Krishna Bhakti, Jnana Marga will not give liberation, Karma Marga will not give material enjoyment. What to speak of anything? What to speak of attaining Krishna Bhakti through these paths? You will not even attain the results that these paths promise if you don't add some Krishna Bhakti in these paths. Okay, that is the point he is making here. अस्तु तावत् सुलभत्ववार्ता अतः साधनसहस्राणामपि सासंगत्वमेव लभ्यते. Let alone mukti and bhukti, let alone liberation and material enjoyment being easily attained through these paths. They will never be attained by these paths if you don't add Krishna Bhakti. You can only attain liberation through jnana. You can only attain material enjoyment through karma marg when you add Vishnu Bhakti in these practices. Okay? Therefore, sadhana sahasranamapi sasangatvam eva labhyate. These sadhana sahasraihi, this word which is here, thousands of such sadhanas when you engage in them, you cannot attain Krishna Bhakti. So here also, sadhana sahasra, thousands of such practices when you engage in, they have to be also understood to be done with attachment for them. With an addition of Krishna Bhakti. Okay. So when you engage in karma marga, but just add a little bit of Krishna Bhakti. When you engage in the path of jnana, just add a little bit of Krishna Bhakti. When you engage in yoga, just add a little Krishna Bhakti. Even by thousands of such practices for a long time, you will never attain Krishna Bhakti, means Bhava Bhakti. You will never attain that Bhava Bhakti for Krishna through such things. Yes, Bhakti Praveeniji.
Yes, if you don't mind, I wanted to ask about so many, yogis who claim that other yogis who left their body in maybe a Mahasamadhi way, like they left their body in the middle of meditation, all these cases are being described in numerous ways. So, but they did not worship Krishna; they just worshipped Shiva. Or so, how can we understand this statement that without Krishna Bhakti one cannot attain liberation? Did these yogis attain some kind of pseudo liberation, or what did they? Where did they end up?
Well, it is very clear from the Shastras that without devotion to Krishna, one will never attain liberation. Okay, one can only think that one has become liberated, but from that position one will quickly fall down. Arohya krichrena parampadam tatah. Okay, you may be a jivan mukta. Okay, you may be just waiting for your body to collapse and to attain liberation, but because you have not worshipped the lotus feet of Krishna, because your mind does not have regard. Your mind does not have regard for the feet of Krishna. You will fall down from that position of pseudo liberation, of apparent liberation, and you will again take birth somewhere else according to whatever karma is remaining. So, but here, of course, they need not be pure devotees for attaining liberation. That's, we have to be aware of that also. They need to have just some mixture of devotion for Krishna. They need not be pure devotees. Right? So if they have some regard for Krishna also, along with their devotion for Shiva, if they have some respect for Vishnu also, they also bow down to him, they worship him, and like that, they can attain liberation. They should not have bad feelings for Vishnu. They should have good feelings for Vishnu. That's the only condition.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so Jiva Goswami says the word sadhana sahasra here means this karma, jnana, yoga, all these austerities which you do. If you add a little Krishna bhakti, still you will not attain bhava bhakti for Vishnu, for Krishna. That's the point here. वाक्यार्थ क्रमभंगस्य अवश्य परिहार्यत्वात् सहस्र बाहुल्या सिद्धेश्च तत्र यदि ज्ञान यज्ञादि पुण्ययोः सासंगत्वं तदैकनिष्ठत्वमात्रं वाच्यं तदा तादृशाभ्यामपि ताभ्यां तयोः सुलभत्वं नोपपद्यते क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् इत्यादि गीता 12.5 क्षुद्राशा भूरि कर्माणु बालिशा वृद्धमानिनः भागवतम 10:23-9 इत्यादिश्च. So Jiva Goswami now further strengthens his point that you cannot consider only sadhana sahasram to be having a connection with bhakti, and this first half of the shloka Jnana Marga and Yagyadi Punya not having a connection with Bhakti. Vakyartha Krama Bhangasya Avashya Pariharyatva. Because there will be Krama Bhanga, there will be a breakage of the order. There will be a break in the order of the Vakyartha of the whole, the meaning of the whole sentence. Okay. You will not be able to, you cannot break the meaning of the sentence in between the sentence. Okay. So that's what this opponent is trying to do. They connect Jnana Marga and Yagyadi Punya in the first half. Do not connect them with Sasanga. Do not think that you need to be attached to these practices in the sense of attaching Krishna Bhakti to these practices. But here, Sadhana Sahasra, you need to have Sasanga here. So Jiva Goswami is saying that you cannot explain it like that, because if you have it here, then what is the reason you don't have it here? Sasanga understanding you have here, sadhana sahasra done with attachment. Then what makes you think that sasanga is not applicable here? That there is a break in the order of the sentence. And it should not be so. Avashya pariharyatva. You should not, a sentence should not have a break in its meaning. Sahasra bahulya asiddheshcha. And the bahulyam, the bahuvachanam, the plurality, sahasraihi, thousands, not just 1,000, it is thousands of sadhanas. So it will also be affected by that. So by this logic, yadi jnana yajnadi punyayoho sasangatvam tadekaniஷ்ठत्वं वाच्यं da tadrishabhyam api tabhyam tayoho sulabhatvam nopupadyate. तादृशाभ्याम अपि ताभ्याम तयोः सुलभत्वं नोपपद्यते. Okay. So just a small correction in my explanation. The opponent is saying that Jnana and Yagyadi Punya should be Sasanga. They should be Sasanga. Jnana Yagyadi Punyayoh Sasangatvam Tadeka Nishthatva Matram Vachyam. Okay. Let them be sasangam. Let them be having attachment, doing those practices of jnana and yagya and all these things with attachment. What do you mean that doing them with attachment? Tadeka nishthatva matram vachya. Being exclusively dedicated to these practices only and not concerned with anything else. So our opponent is interpreting here the word asanga, attachment, not as Jiva Goswami wants to understand it, but in his own way, that understanding sasanga as completely fixed in that only in that and nothing else. So if you are following the Vedic karma marga, you are totally dedicated to that path. And when you totally dedicate yourself to that path, you will easily attain material enjoyment, bhukti. For a jnani, one who is exclusively dedicated to the jnana marga, cultivating the knowledge of oneness between Paramatma and the Jivatma, that is jnana marga. If you are only dedicated to that exclusively 24 hours a day, then you will easily attain mukti, as this tantra says. Then Jiva Goswami says that it is impossible to consider like that. You cannot interpret the word asanga as being fully attached to that path exclusively, because even if you are fully attached to that path, you will not attain mukti, or you will not attain material enjoyment. Tadrishabhyam api tabhyam tayoho sulabhatvam na upapadyate. Mukti cannot be easily attained even if you are exclusively devoted to the Jnana Marga. Material enjoyment cannot be easily attained even if you are exclusively devoted to Karma Marga. As Gita says, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. Those people whose minds are attached to the unmanifest reality, the unmanifest feature, Nirvishesha Brahma. Their path is filled with difficulties. So they are attached to that. Avyakta asakta chetasa. Okay? They are attached to that concept of the absolute reality, having no attributes. For them, their path is filled with suffering, with pain, okay, with problems, with difficulties. Adhikatara. Okay. Exceeding amount of problems, not just some problems are there on their paths. Their path is filled with problems and difficulties. Okay. Even if you are attached to Jnana Marga, your path is filled with difficulties. You cannot attain liberation easily, as this Tantra says. Okay. Then he says, Bhagavatam 10:23-9. Rudrasha bhuri karmano balisha vruddhamani. These people who are having very small desires to get some money, get a son, get a good wife, and they are engaging in all these Vedic activities. Okay, they are balish. They are ignorant people. They are childish people. And vruddhamana, they think themselves that they are very learned, they are very mature and advanced, but they are actually very childish. Let's see this shloka from the Bhagavad 10:23-9. इति ते भगवद्याच्ञां शृण्वन्तोऽपि न शुश्रुवुः क्षुद्राशा भूरि कर्माणो बालिशा वृद्धमानि. This is about the Yajnika Brahmanas in the Vraja area. These Brahmanas were engaged in doing great sacrificial activity. When Krishna sent his friends to ask for some food for himself and Balarama, so they did not pay any heed to the request of Krishna and his friends. So, iti te bhagavad yachayam shrinvantopi na shushru. Although they heard what they were asking, that they were asking them for some food, still they did not pay any attention. Na shushru. They did not listen. And they are described here as kshudrasha, having very petty desires. Bhuri karma, doing big activities. And they are childish and thinking themselves very mature. Bhuri Karmana, here entangled in elaborate ritualistic activities. It is actually a very big undertaking to do such big yajnas. If you have ever taken part in a proper, authentic yajna done by Vaidika Brahmanas, lots and lots of preparation, first of all, is required for that. And lot of small details are there. And if some mistake happens by chance, then you have to do both prayashchitta later on. All these things are there. Very technical procedure. You have to take care of many different things. So it is very difficult to be executed, first of all. So, ityadi. So very difficult task, basically. So performing yajna is not a easy task. It is a very difficult task, and it will take a lot of problems for you to finally perform those yajnas, and then you can fulfill your desires for attaining material pleasure. Somebody has said something in the chat. Okay, yes. Okay, thank you. I will try to follow this. Okay. Then let us discuss something more of this commentary. तस्मात् तयोः सासङ्गत्वं नैपुण्येन विहितत्वमित्येव वाच्यम् नैपुण्यं च भक्तियोगसंयोक्तृत्वम् इति. Therefore, engagement in these paths of karma and jnana with attachment, okay? The attachment for these paths should be understood to be executing these paths with expertise, engaging in these activities with expertise. And what do you mean that executing the activities with expertise? It means connecting these activities of jnana and karma with bhakti, with Krishna bhakti. That's what it means. And for that, Jiva Goswami gives support from Srimad Bhagavata. Pureha bhuman bahavopi yoginah. Okay, let's follow your advice now. 10:14:5. Okay. SB I have to mention. Yes, that's good. Thank you. Pureha bhuman bahavopi yoginas tvadarpiteha nijakarmalabdhaya vibuddhya bhaktyaiva kathopanitaya trapedirenjot gatim param. Shri Brahmaji is expressing his prayers to Bhagavan Shri Krishna after the Brahma Vimohana Lila. So, oh Lord, in earlier times, many yogis, they offered their activities to you. Whatever they had attained, they offered to you. Bhaktya eva kathopanitaya prapedire anjat achyutate gatim para. So these yogis, they understood Vibuddhya. After understanding the reality, they engaged in devotion to you, okay, in the form of hearing your katha upanita. They heard about your leelas from various devotees of yours, and they offered all their activities to you, and very quickly, O Krishna, they attained the param gatim. They attained the highest destination, that is liberation. So very quickly, very easily, they attain the highest destination through your bhakti, offering all their actions to you. Their yogic practice and all their advancement in yoga, they offered everything to you with devotion, with love, with affection for you. And by that, they very quickly attain liberation. So this is the proof that shows that when you practice the karma marga or yoga marga, jnana marga, with the addition of devotion to Krishna, then you will very quickly attain the result of that path, that is liberation or material enjoyment or whatever. Okay. Also, 1081:19, Swargapavargayoh Pumsam. This is another reference that Jiva Goswami gives to support his claim, his point. 1081:19. Yes. Swargapavargayoh pungsam rasayam bhuvi sampadam sarvasamupi siddhinam moolam taccharanarchanam. Very pertinent shloka. The source of attaining any kind of perfection. Okay? If you want to attain heavenly enjoyment, if you want to attain liberation from birth and death, even if you want to become the king of some part of the world of Rasatala or something, if you want to attain wealth, riches in any part of this earthly plane, all kinds of attainments, accomplishments can be had by worshipping the feet of Sri Vishnu, Sri Krishna. Moolam tat charanarchanam. Only by engaging in Krishna's worship you can attain anything you want. You need not follow the other paths separately. Okay. Moolam tat charanarchanam. So it shows that for attaining all these various things, you need to add Krishna Bhakti to your various other practices, because that is the source. That is the very cause of attaining any material enjoyment or liberation or any such thing. Okay. Now the last sentence for today. Atha Haribhakti Shabdena Sadhya Rupo Rati Paryayastad Bhava Eva Uchyate. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.331, Bhaktya Sanjataya Bhaktya Itivat. So therefore, the word Hari Bhakti here, you should understand Bhava, Sadhya Rupa Bhava Eva. Actually, this is a new thing, a new topic which he starts in this commentary. We will discuss it in the next week, next meeting. Any questions someone has so far? Any doubt? Yes. All right. So we can meet next week. And thank you so much for participating today.
Thank you, Parajit. Sarvam
Thank
Sri
you.
Krishna Arpanastu.